ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। शुद्धस्फटिकसङ्काशं शुद्धविद्याप्रदायकं शुद्धं पूर्णं चिदानन्दं सदाशिवमहं श्रये। शङ्कारूपेण मच्चित्तं पङ्कीकृतमभूद्यया किं करीयस्य सामाया शङ्कराचार्यमाश्रये। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। भारतीकरुणापात्रं भारतीपदभूषणं भारतीपदमारूढं भारतीतीर्थमाश्रये। विद्याविनयसम्पन्नं वीतरागं विवेकिनं वन्दे वेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञं विदुशेखरभारतीं। मालासुधाकुम्भविबोधमुद्रा विद्याविराजत्करवारिजाताम् अपारकारुण्यसुधाम्बुराशिं श्रीशारदाम्बां प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्। ॐ वासुदेवेन्द्रयोगीन्द्रं नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुं मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते. As a part of Jnana Phalam and Videha Mukti, we were analyzing the law of karma, which is very unique to our Vedic tradition, Vedic culture. Very significant teaching with lot of corollaries. If we are able to understand the law of karma along with the corollaries, then this very understanding itself will give a lot of mental relaxation. You will have answers for many of your queries. Let us see the corollaries. Corollary 1 of the law of karma. Every experience one undergoes in one's life is a mixture of both prarabdha phalam or agami karma phalam. Either it is because of prarabdha or because of agami. Now, what is prarabdha and agami? Prarabdha is our own actions done in the previous janma. Agami is our own actions done in the present janma, in this life. That is agami. Now, these two karmas only give us pleasurable and sorrow, painful experiences in life. Throughout we experience many situations which are either pleasurable or painful experiences only because of these two karmas, prarabdham or agami. If one understands this principle, if you understand this corollary, many queries will be answered. Therefore, one should never blame others. There is no third factor for the experiences we undergo in our life other than these two karma phalams. The rule is yaha karta bhavati saha eva karma phala bhokta bhavati. Whoever is the karta means the doer of any action. The past karta alone becomes the present bhokta. Bhokta means the reaper, the enjoyer, the person who enjoys the pleasurable or painful experience. Therefore, if at all you have to blame someone, if you love blaming, you cannot blame anyone except you yourself, because your actions, past janma and current janma, are the only reasons for the experiences which you undergo. Therefore, the first corollary of the law of karma is stop blaming other people for the experiences you undergo. Corollary number 2. If the past I is responsible for the present I, by extending the same corollary, we can say the present I is responsible for the future I also. The past I cannot be corrected. Why? Because it is past. No point in crying over the spilt milk. spilt milk. So no use in talking about the past. No use in blaming ourselves for the past actions which we have done, for the foolish activities which we have done in the past, because past is past. Instead of blaming the past, instead of finding reasons for the past behavior, we can concentrate on the present I, because still it is not past, it is only present. Therefore, by paying attention to the present I, you can influence or control or direct or manage the future I. Therefore, law of karma says, take charge, take responsibility for your future. Don't take fatalistic philosophy, saying everything is in the hands of some unknown factor, unknown destiny. Some people say, like, everything is Bhagavan decides, I don't have any control over my actions and all those. These are all fatalistic philosophies. Law of karma says, you and none other than you alone are responsible for your future. Therefore, you have to take responsibility for shaping your future, because this is the current janma which is given to us by Bhagavan. Instead of wasting our time in going through the past and wasting our time, concentrate on the present. Try to improve your life so that you will be responsible for what future you want. Therefore, contrary to popular belief that law of karma is fatalism, we say law of karma is the only remedy for fatalistic attitude. This is the second corollary. Bhagavan Sri Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Uddharet Atmanatmanam. That is, he says, Arjuna, you take responsibility for yourself, your life. Don't expect me to come and uplift you all the time. I will encourage you, but you only have to act. You only have to take responsibility. Like, you may have seen in some schools, small children will be participating in running race during the annual sports day or annual day or something like that. The parents will be cheering, will be clapping their hands, encouraging their children to run fast so that they will win the race. But the running activity has to be done only by the children, not by the parents. Only children have to run. So, the second important corollary of law of karma is, you have to take charge for your future. You have to take responsibility for your future. From which day? People may generally, we will postpone. Okay, today is not the auspicious day, this is Tuesday, or this is, we have to wait for some new year, I will do from tomorrow and all those. Don't wait for any day to come. Start from today itself. Act. This is the second law of corollary. Then the third law of corollary of law of karma is, a person enjoys both agami phalam and prarabdha phalam. It is a mixture, both. Therefore, whatever I experience is either because of agami or because of prarabdha phalam. Agami is the result of action done by the present karta, current karta of this janma. And prarabdham is a result of action done by the previous janma, karta of previous janma. Therefore, we can call it as prarabdha as remote karta and agami as current karta. But both are ourself, myself, yourself. One experiences both these every moment in life, and our general tendency is to correlate experiences with the karta. When you try to connect the karta and the experience, generally as far as Agami Phalam is concerned, the equation will tally. Because Agami represents the present karma produced by the current karta. He is a good person, he is enjoying life, it is fine. He is a bad person, therefore he is undergoing problems, it is okay. That is our intellect. Intellect always thinks like that. Generally it will be correct. This is the result of Agami Phalam, which is done in the present Janma. But when the Prarabdha experiences are going through, which are coming, which are faced by the person, one cannot correlate the Prarabdha experience and the current Karta. Why? Because Prarabdha is not associated with current Janma, but it is the result of action done in the past Janma, the past Karta, whom we have not seen, we cannot see. So when I try to correlate, when I try to connect the Prarabdha Anubhava and the present Karta, the present doer, often they will not tally. Therefore, when you see very good person, very noble people suffering in their lives, you feel disturbed, you feel very bad. At the same time, when a corrupt person, when a notorious person enjoys all materialistic comforts, once again you feel very angry. This is the general equation your intellect will assimilate. When you see a corrupt person enjoying prosperity, you get disturbed, you get angry with the world. Sometimes we get angry with God also. You say, there is no justice in this world. Because he is a bad person, everybody knows, but he is enjoying his life. Actually, there is nothing wrong with the justice, with the world, nothing is wrong with God. The problem is in your wrong equation, because you are trying to equate the Prarabdha experience with the current person, current Karta. Because Prarabdha is not the result of current Karta, but it is the result of action done in the past Janma, whom you do not see at all. Therefore, you cannot connect. The wrong equation is the problem. If you understand that human experiences are a mixture of both Prarabdha Phalam as well as the Agami Karma, then you will never see any injustice in this world. They are only seeming injustice. They are only seeming, not actual. I am taking human life for nearly 50, 60 years and then come to conclusion that everything is not okay, there is injustice in this world. But Bhagavan knows, as far as Bhagavan is concerned, life is a chain, anadi kala pravardha. It is a chain. Therefore, the third corollary is never make a wrong equation. Good people suffer. Dharmaputra suffered. He lived in the forest for many years. Bad people enjoy. Duryodhana enjoying the kingdom, enjoying all the good experiences. He had a lot of wealth to feel happy about and all this. Never make such an equation and come to a conclusion that Ishvara is unjust. Do not come to that wrong conclusion. It is based on your short-sighted, myopia approach. Bhagavan will never make any mistake because he is the karma paladhata. He knows your past, your immediate past, your past, everything he knows. He has perfect accounts. His computer will never go wrong. We have to understand that. The fourth corollary is, generally Prarabdha Punya Papa are not known to us. That is why it is called Adrishtam. In the introductory class itself, I told all the three karmas, not only Prarabdham, all the three karma phalams, Sanchita karma, Prarabdha karma and Agami karma are invisible, Adrishtam, both Punyam and Papam. Whenever we say karma phalam, it includes Punyam as well as Papam. So, you don't know what are your Prarabdha. You do not know what Prarabdha you are going to face tomorrow. Therefore, you cannot even handle that Prarabdha because you don't know. Like even if you know a problem to handle, we are not able to handle many things in life. Whereas prarabdha is unknown, therefore we cannot handle. No way of knowing prarabdha normally. But our Shastra says there are different methods by which we can know our prarabdham. Generally, it is better not to know our prarabdham. We should in fact thank God for shielding the prarabdham from our vision. But Shastra says one can know, and one of the methods is to know from our horoscope, from Jatakam, which indicates the planetary position, constellation of your prarabdha. Your Jatakam, the planetary position, will only indicate, it is a clue only for your prarabdha. Various position of the planets and constellation, they are supposed only to indicate one's prarabdha. Whether you will experience good experiences or whether you will be experiencing pleasurable one or painful experiences will be known through Jatakam or horoscope. But we should be very, very careful. Planets are not causing your problems, pleasure and pain. They are not the reasons for your pleasurable experience or painful experiences. This point one should make very, very clear. They cannot influence, the planets cannot influence your life. Planets are only indicators of your prarabdha, and the actual reason for the suffering or enjoying is because of your prarabdha, which you have done in the past. So you cannot blame it on planets. So this is to be understood very well. Like similar to our clock. Clock will indicate the time of sunrise, it will indicate the time of sunset. But clock is not the reason, is not the cause of sunset or sunrise. Supposing clock is the reason for sunset, what will happen? If the clock stops, sun will not set, sun will not rise. Therefore, the difference between the cause and indicator should be very clearly understood. In Sanskritam they say Karakam for cause and Jnapakam for indicator. This is the general. Supposing we are able to know the prarabdha at some point, some occasion, with the help of a Vedic Pandit, well-learned person, who will be able to understand the planetary position by going through your horoscope. Shastra says, you have a method of handling this prarabdham. As we have already seen, your future is dependent on prarabdha as well as agami. This agami is the karma done in the present janma by the current karta, that is myself. Now what I am doing and what is the result of this action is agami. Supposing you create such an agami which is capable of countering or neutralizing the prarabdha, then there is a solution for handling the prarabdha. When you can create an agami as a remedy for prarabdha, that agami karma is called prayaschitta karma or parihara karma. Production of an appropriate agami karma to handle the arriving prarabdha karma. Then the next question is, generally people will ask, will the prayaschitta karmas can solve all my prarabdha karma? Do we have prayaschitta agami karmas for all types of our prarabdha karma? This is a general question people will immediately ask. In that case, I will ask another question. Do you have medicines that will cure all diseases? Do medicines cure all diseases? Supposing I ask this question, what will be your answer? I know you are all intelligent, therefore I am sure you will not answer this question. Your answer should be, it depends on the type of disease. In certain diseases, medicines are sufficiently advanced so they can cure the disease. For example, cholera, typhoid or TB, some long time back they were all deadly, they were all fatal diseases. But thanks to medical world, they have found out antibiotic medicines. Therefore, all these diseases can be cured now. So there are certain medicines which are available for curing certain diseases. There are certain type of diseases where medicine cannot cure, but medicine can manage some disease. For example, diabetes. If a person has a diabetes, then the doctor advises the person to do regular exercise, to cut off sugar intake, to be very careful with the diet control and all those things he will say. This is only to manage the diabetes, not to cure. Therefore, certain diseases can be managed. In certain other diseases where medicines cannot cure, they cannot manage. The doctor says it is terminal disease. We cannot be cured. It cannot be managed also. There are some institutions, very noble hospitals, they take care of such terminal patients, and there also doctors give medicines, but not for curing or managing. They are for alleviating the suffering undergoing by the patients, terminally ill patients, in order so that the patients not to have pain, too much of pain, not to have too much of suffering. Only to alleviate the painful experiences, the doctors give medicines. Therefore, the conclusion is, medicines can cure in some cases, medicine can manage in some cases, in some diseases, medicine can alleviate the problem, alleviate the suffering in terminal cases. Shastra says, Prayaschitta karmas also will act similar way only. That is, they can either help in curing your Prayaschitta karma, your Prarabdha karma, or managing your Prarabdha karma, or alleviating your Prarabdha karma. If Prarabdha is weaker, then small prayers, regular prayers may be able to cure the Prarabdham. If Prarabdham is intermediary, your Prayaschitta karmas can manage. They may not be able to cure, they can manage. If Prarabdha karma is very powerful, then you cannot, whatever be your Prayaschitta karma, they cannot cure, they cannot manage the Prarabdha karma. People have to go through. Only thing is, they may be able to alleviate the suffering. This much. The Prayashchittam, sometime in general, it is called prayers. That is Prarthana. When the Prayashchitta is done towards specific Prarabdha karma, it is called Parihara. Both Parihara and prayer are one and the same. But prayer, which is Prarthana, is Samanya, which is general. Whereas Parihara is very specific and well directed. Therefore, the fourth corollary of law of karma is availability of Prayashchitta karma. Then the fifth and final corollary is, in any particular janma or birth, you never can exhaust all the karmas. You will exhaust Prarabdha karma. A part of Agami karma will be experienced and exhausted, but the other part of Agami karma, which cannot be experienced in this janma, will get added with your Sanchita karma, which is there in the opening balance, which is a very big mutai. So, Sanchita karma cannot be exhausted in this janma because it is not even fructified. You do not know. Therefore, only some karmas can be exhausted in one's janma. Hence, sanchita karma and unexperienced agami karma are not exhausted at all. And therefore, our Shastra says, Punarjanma is a compulsory necessity. Therefore, the fifth and final corollary of law of karma is rebirth, Punarjanma. In our Vedic teaching, in our Vedic tradition, in our Vedic culture, the cycle of birth and death is a natural corollary of law of karma. Even in the case of animal, for example, a dog, it will exhaust its prarabdha karma, like going here and there, running and all this. Once it exhausts its prarabdha karma, it has to die. It cannot acquire any agami karma because it doesn't have ego. Kartrutvam, the dog doesn't have. It cannot plan, it cannot do any action like that. It cannot do any deliberate actions. It just runs. It crosses the signal or red signal. Policeman cannot find a dog or an animal. So, it doesn't acquire an agami. Prarabdha is exhausted. But what happens to its sanchita karma? It is there. Therefore, even after its death, it has to be reborn in order to go through some of the sanchita karma. Therefore, some people may try to compare a jnani with an animal. In many respects, a jnani and animal will be, not in the negative sense, we will take it in the positive, they will be the same. Because both of them do not acquire agami karma, current janma. The action done in the current janma will not earn any punyam or papam for both jnani as well as for an animal. Both of them exhaust their prarabdha karma. The only difference, the very, very big difference between an animal and a jnani, in the positive sense I am telling, not in the negative sense. Jnani, because of self-knowledge, because of Atma Jnanam, he is able to burn the sanchita karma. All the three karmas are exhausted as far as the jnani is concerned, whereas the animal is concerned, it cannot acquire jnana phalam because it doesn't have vivekam, because it doesn't have ego. It cannot do any action with a predetermined idea. It cannot do that. Therefore, it has to go through the cycle of punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Therefore, the fifth and final corollary of law of karma is punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam cycle. Now, how does it happen? At the time of death, prarabdha is gone. Therefore, prarabdha based, the body is also gone. Agami karma, some of them is experienced, it is gone. Some of them, the unexperienced agami karma gets added with sanchita karma. Therefore, the prarabdha is exhausted, the stula shariram falls, but the subtle body and the sukshma shariram, I hope you understand, I hope you remember and you recall what do you mean by subtle body and causal body, which are discussed a long time back. They will continue to survive. Only the stula shariram, gross physical body only dies. At the time of death, the karana shariram, the causal body, sukshma shariram, the subtle body, along with the respective reflections, because the medium is there, the reflection will be there, and of course the chit, chidabhasa, all these put together is called jiva. This jiva only will travel. When we say traveling jiva, the composition will be karana shariram, sukshma shariram, plus the reflected consciousness, that is chidabhasa. The OC, the chit, original consciousness, the chit, will never be able to travel. It need not travel, it cannot travel, because it is already all pervading. Where can it go? Because only in chit everything is happening. Therefore, chit is all pervading, it will not travel. Other than chit, karana shariram, Sukshma Shariram and Chidabhasa. This is called a traveling Jiva. When Shastra says a traveling Jiva, this is the composition. Other than Chit, the components of subtle body, causal body and reflected consciousness. This is the Jiva which will travel. Travel where? To acquire another physical body, Stula Shariram, in order to once again exhaust Prarabdha, acquiring Agami, experience some of them. The balance will get added to Sanchitam. The Stula Shariram will go at the time of death. Then once again it is born. So this is a cycle. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam will continue. Whereas for a Jnani, this cycle does not come. The moment he has that self-knowledge, because of the power of Atma Jnanam, he is able to burn the Sanchita Karma, and he has exhausted his Prarabdha Karma. At the time of death, his Stula Shariram falls. The Stula Shariram merges into the Panchabhuta. His Karana Shariram also is dissolved, is resolved into Hiranyagarbha. His Karana Shariram also is exhausted, it is dissolved into Antaryami. Therefore, there is no balance for the Jiva, for the Jivan Mukta who has attained Videha Mukti to be reborn. He exhausts all the karmas. He is able to burn Sanchita Karma. He does not acquire Agami Karma. Prarabdha Karma is anyway exhausted. Prarabdha Karma has to be exhausted even by a Jnani. The Prarabdham can bring him some pleasurable experience and painful experience. That is why some of the Jnanis, they go through some physical problems also. We see that. But for them, these physical problems are pinpricks. They do not matter at all because of self-knowledge. The power of self-knowledge make this type of physical problems as though non-existent, which we have already seen. So, a Jnani attains Videha Mukti. We say he has merged into all-pervading Ishvara. Samsaram tirtva Brahmanandam ihaiva prapnoti. He enjoys Brahmanandam even while living, Jivan Mukti. And he attains Ishvara Aikyam after death, which is called Videha Mukti. Then the author says the following, which has been said in the Shruti, original scriptures, yes, particularly in Chandogya Upanishad, he quotes a statement, which the shloka which we saw in the last class, which is Tarati Shokam Atmavit iti Shrutehe. Atmavit means the knower of Atma, a person with self-knowledge. Tarati, crosses over. Shokam, sorrow. Even though his Prarabdha brings some favorable, unfavorable situation, they are all pinpricked from him. He does not get affected by that. So, this is the Upanishadic support for a Jivan Mukta. Now, he gives another scriptural statement for Videha Mukti. He quotes from the Smriti. Smriti is what? Secondary scripture. It is supporting Shruti Veda Pramanam. What does it say? Tanum tyajatuva kashyam. A Jnani may die in a Punya Kshetram similar to Kashi or some other sacred place. Or he may die in Shwapachasya Grihe Athava. Or he may die in a house of a dog eater. Nowadays I don't know whether there are dog eaters or not, but generally Shwapacha means dog. Shwapacha means dog eater, a house of uncultured person, a place which is not clean generally. So, for a Jnani, let him shed his body either in a sacred place or in an ordinary or a dirty place. It doesn't matter. His death, the time of death doesn't matter. Where he is dead doesn't matter. Place of birth or mode of death, all these things do not matter for a Jnani. Because by the power of self-knowledge, he attains Ishvara. Jnana Samprapti Samaye sau muktaha, this jnani is already liberated even at the time of self-knowledge itself. That means, even while living, he is free from all the karmas. He is a Jivan Mukta. And Vigata Ashayaha, he is free from all the karmas which reside in the Sukshma Shariram. Iti Smritescha. From this Smriti, a literature based on Veda. Veda is primary literature. Veda based literature is secondary literature, which is called Smriti. Thus, Smriti, the Shruti is Veda, and Smriti, both of them point out Jnanam, which is Atma Jnanam, self-knowledge, gives both Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti, and therefore interested people are welcome to vote for Atma Jnanam, or welcome to learn more scriptures and gain Atma Jnanam. Thus, with the Jnana Phalam, the fifth and final chapter of Tattva Bodha is over. The first part, the first sloka, it started with Vasudevendra Yogindram, which is in a verse form, poetic form. And the last verse, which is also last sloka, which is also in a poetic form, that we will see now. In between, all of them are in prose form, question, answers, like that. Now, the last sloka is Tanum Tyajatuva Kashyam Swapachasya Grihe Athava Jnana Samprapti Samaye Muktosau Bigatashayah Iti Tattvabodha Prakaranam Samaptam. With this, the Tattvabodha is over. I will give you the summary of Tattvabodha in the next class. Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om.